The law passed all its stages, 118 to 4. Smokers beware, you're getting pinched in the pocket. It was a swift and decisive move, and the architect of change, Associate Health Minister and Māori Party co-leader Tariana Turia joins me now from Whanganui. Tēnā koe, Tariana.
Kia ora, Shane.
Why the price hike and why now?
Well, because all the overseas evidence shows that it does prevent uptake amongst young people, and that it does result in less people continuing to smoke. And I think the 700 calls to quit line the day after indicates how much people do want to give up.
So if increasing the price makes people stop smoking, why not make smokes $20, $30, $40 a packet?
Well, you know, to be frank with you, I would have preferred a much stronger price hike. Because we know that that would have had a more immediate impact. But, of course, you know, you've got to think about the downside of that, and that means a rise in the CPI index, etc. So the government was only prepared to move on the 10% per year and 24% immediately for loose tobacco to bring it into line.
So you had to compromise with your ministerial colleagues? Oh,
absolutely. I mean, that's the name of the game. You try to do your very best to get what you think is what will work, and this is what the government decided was the best way forward. I mean, if you look at Aussie, gone up 24% immediately.
What would the ideal scenario be? To have them banned altogether?
Well, of course it would be. We're talking about a legal substance that kills 5,000 people a year, 13 people a day, costs the state over $2 billion in health services. Why would we continue to allow it to be here? There's more people dying of smoking than are dying in wars.
You're right, it does cost $2 billion, but in saying that, the government, it takes in taxes $1.1 billion a year from tobacco.
That's true, and the rest of the taxpayers subsidise smokers by nearly $1 billion. Why should that be?
Let's play devil's advocate. You're picking on smokers. Why pick on smokers?
Well, you know, this is about saving lives. It's not about picking on smokers. I feel very sorry for people who take up smoking because I know how addictive it is. I've seen my own family members die. I know how critical this issue is, particularly for Māori and Pacific people. It is about saving lives. That has been the sole motivation. You
said before, because you've had first-hand experience of the effects of tobacco, including your own mum.
That's right. My mother was 26 when she started smoking. She actually started smoking after she had me, and smoked for about 40 years. I nursed my mother. I know how difficult it is for families to go through and lose their mum. But I also lost all of my cousins who were raised by my grandmother. So it's been a personal experience, and it has been a personal crusade.
Because you say your cousins that grew up with you, that was raised by your grandmother, all of them have died because of tobacco-related illnesses. You're the only one who's still living now?
That's right, I am. And it's pretty lonely. And I've got to kind of be a bit of a mokopuna. It's not easy.
It's a personal crusade for you.
It is definitely a personal crusade because I don't want to see families in the situation that I have seen many, many families. You can go into any urupa in this country and see the numbers of people who have died directly related to smoking.
The irony, I suppose, is the same week that you put up the tax on tobacco is the same week that the government says, no, we're not going to put tax up on alcohol. That's the irony.
Well, it is an irony, but however, I think it would be fair to say that the report has only been out 1 week. This issue around tobacco has been going on for many, many years. We can go back to the Smoke-Free Environs Bill, People like Tuku Morgan, when he was in Parliament, introduced legislation, unfortunately wasn't able to see it through. So this is not just about me doing this. There have been others who for years and years have fought really hard to try and make it as difficult as possible for people to smoke.
Just quickly before we move on the issue of alcohol, do you think that the tax should be hiked up like the case with tobacco?
What I'd like to see is for us to have a look at the report. It's, as I say, it's only been out a week, some 500 pages. We've got people doing analysis on the report, and then we will make a decision about where we think we should go. But certainly I think that the alcohol, that alcohol that's got about 13% alcohol in it, there's got to be consideration given to that, given the impact that this has on family violence.
What about the drinking age? Do you think it should be taken back to 20?
Look, I'm considering that. I have to say that I was opposed to it being lowered, but I'm really unsure whether raising the drinking age will have the impact that we need. What needs to happen is that whoever does the licensing of these places has to stop putting them in poor communities.
Let's go back to smoking, because there will be people out there who won't give up and who will probably make sacrifices, and it could be to the detriment of their own kids. They won't go and get kai, they'll go and get tobacco, or they'll go and get their packet of cigarettes. What do you say to those people? Because there will be some of those people that will sit in that category.
Well, I'm hoping that people will begin to think really seriously. And again, I say I know how addictive this substance is, more addictive than heroin. I know people are going to struggle with this because I've got a couple of my own family right now who are struggling to give up. So I know it's going to be hard, but I guess my message to them is that they need to live so that they can see their children grow up.
You don't think it's a bit paternalistic? You don't think you're being nanny state?
Well, I am a nanny, so I probably am being a bit nanny state, but I think also that I'm really clear that this is a legal substance that kills. We should be concerned about it. We've taken other things off the shelves when we've been concerned about them, Shane, and yet it seems to be that we've taken a long time to have the courage, basically, to address this issue head on.
How far are you prepared to go?
Meaning? Meaning
you want it banned completely, obviously. So that's the direction you're going in.
Oh, look, I don't want to lie to everybody. Of course, that is the direction that the Māori Party prefers to go in. The Māori Affairs Select Committee right now has an inquiry going on that clearly is looking at the impact of tobacco on families. And Hon Tariana has been very clear that he thinks we should be having tobacco out of Aotearoa.